Hello, Amanda. My mother should be joining shortly, and
Hey,
her husband.
perfect. How are you?
Can't hear you.
Oh no, you can't hear me? Shit.
Okay, I should hear you now. Well, I guess not. Or are you muted? Yeah, you're muted.
Now, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yay. Okay,
Yeah, so let me see
perfect.
what's going on with my mother.
Okay.
Oh, there she is.
Perfect. Oh yay.
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Zoom link out first. How do I?
I can hear you guys. I can hear you, Yana.
Okay.
Yay.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Oh,
Okay, so I guess where to start?
Okay.
Just in regards to, I guess your email. I guess the first thing is you're currently working on a reply on behalf of my grandmother.
Yeah, I think we need to reply it to some extent. I'm not really sure what to say, honestly, because it's not that we don't want her evaluated to make sure that she could stay in the house. We do want her to stay in the house, but I think what you were saying about some of the things that with the care manager, it's obviously not that urgent that she be put in a facility right now. I don't see any reason reason for.
Yeah, I mean, Don's clearly looking for an out and has been looking
Yeah,
for an out.
yeah,
And yeah, I mean, he filed this without telling anybody right before going on vacation.
yeah. He didn't
Yeah,
tell me either.
yeah. I mean, we were working with him.
we were working with
Really,
him.
we were really trying to be helpful. We were hoping, hey,
with
if
the
we're
with the
the
GCM
helpful
and
ones.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was confused because the last conversation I had with Don was when I said that we could set up a meeting, and then he kind of told me to just sit idle and wait, and I was like, okay, not sure why. So then I guess he went from there and he scheduled the meeting with Dr. Chang and didn't really tell anybody, or didn't tell me anyway.
So he
But
didn't schedule a meeting with Dr. Chang, and this is another upsetting thing. I think he was just looking to have some, hey, look, I did try something and I did work with the family. He came,
Because
go ahead, Mom.
what we asked him to do, because Dr. Chang is like somebody my mother trusts, one of the very few
right,
people that she trusts with all the paranoia. Um, so we needed Dr. Chang to explain to her that Vanarelli really can put her in a home. Somebody that she trusts would tell her, you know what, Nadia, this is true. You
right.
need to comply this, or scare her enough to allow them in, so she knows that it really can happen. Instead, what they did was they tried to get Dr. Chang to try to convince her that, she's incapacitated.
That she needs the GCM
Um,
visits.
that
Oh, and
she needs the GCM and that.
it's worse. So your actual plan without communicating with us was, since Netta is very articulate, they were afraid that she would give him a lot of misinformation. So their original plan was to have Rebecca show up at her doctor's appointments to be there to correct
Oh yeah.
Netta. So I said, that's a dangerous and horrible idea. Whatever you do, do not have Rebecca ambush my grandmother's doctor's appointment.
Right, right.
Right. So no response after that. They did it. They didn't have Rebecca, and essentially Don blamed me and
Us.
me saying not to send Rebecca. Oh, see exactly what happened, what we expected. Uh, you know, Chang, said she probably, isn't getting capacity. She's getting old, and just failed to do it. And then that was last, and then he filed this. So he had no real intention of giving it a solid effort. We gave a bunch of other options too.
He made me believe that
So did Dr. Chang actually talk to her about that he could put her in a
No,
facility?
no, he was trying to
no.
convince her he needed a half-ass attempt to convince her that she needed these GCM visits.
And he didn't try very hard because he told the GCMs that he doesn't believe that she needs a GCM or that she's incapacitated.
Dr. Chang said that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The
Well, remember,
Chang-
Dr. Chang, so Dr. Chang probably adores my mother as much as my mother adores Dr. Chang, right? They have this thing. I used to joke about it because she used to get all gussied up when she went to go see him and bring him candy and whatever. So that's what he's seen of my mother. And you know she's very articulate
Yes.
when she wants to be. So he doesn't believe that he just believes that it's old age.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, he signed the sworn certification commenting on her capacity as her cardiologist, knowing this was a guardianship case and there would be actual professionals to do it. Like, as a medical professional, he should have known better from that.
But he's really, really old too. Amanda, remember that the guy's like, gosh, I want to say he's maybe late 70s, early 80s.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
he's really
gotcha.
old.
Gotcha.
So I guess to circle back to how obviously, and I tried to explain to Daniel this, the move isn't full on attack Dawn and that.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's
Even though
clear,
he's a
and I
horrible
don't think it's an attack to say Dawn does not want to serve in this role.
Right. I think that's true.
And she has an entire family very actively willing to participate. Yes, it is a complicated situation in which she might not be speaking to some of us, etc., but it's not going to be better with an OPG. Like,
Right.
Her not talking to my mother and me and talking to Daniel was us at least with some kind of authority to do something and care for her needs and advocate for her needs is still going to be better than an OPG, I would argue.
I agree. I 100% agree. That was my concern because they've dropped people through the cracks. They don't check up on them. I think that they would either just put her in a home and spend all of her money, or they just wouldn't even bother with her.
I mean, the idea for that money is for her to remain in the home, even at the point where she needs 24-hour care, right?
My concern is how do we convince her that she needs any care? Because when I meet with her, like you said, she is very articulate and she is up and down.
So honestly, Amanda, I think at this point, it's not convince her, is scare the living daylights out of her. It will be something to comply with, or she will be ripped out of her home. I mean, I think that's just say.
Yeah, because look, at the end of the day, she will do things.
There's nothing I'll be able to do. I can't help you. And the thing to do to be able to stay in your house.
Right.
She will do things she doesn't want to do if she has to. I mean, look, she thought I was evil and apparently, trying to kill her. Yet she had me visit every week because at the time she couldn't not see her grandson. Right. This concept of, her mental illness is an issue at times to get over, but she's capable of reconciling, her mental delusions with just having to get over it kind of thing. So, at the end of the day, she just truly believes nothing's going to happen. She can refuse.
She's never had any circumstances, Amanda. So think about it. She told the GCMs, she slammed the door in their face. There was no consequence, right?
Right.
She, I don't know how many times we told Vanarelli that this money is going to Daniel. She's not spending $300 a week on anything. She's passing it through to Daniel. And yet she could still waltz in and take out money. Well, so she says, there's nothing, he's not my guardian. He can't tell me what to do. See, I can do this and I can do that. I mean, I don't know the law. And again, I don't know the law, Amanda, but could he not have shown up there, maybe with the police as a wellness check? And they would have to and she would realize that he's, she needs to play ball because now the police are involved. Just things to make her understand that, this is her new reality.
Hell, she probably would have let him in if you said, I'm going to not let you have access to withdraw cash unaccounted for if you don't let these GCMs in. Like, there's little things like that which would have solved this problem ages ago.
To show power, if you will, that can be done. You know, I'm floored. Listen, Daniel is a monster. Okay, Daniel is a monster. He's a horrible, horrible human being. But I really didn't think. Andrew always told me I never really thought he was that horrible. That he knows that a simple thing from him, like a 15-minute visit, can keep his grandmother out of a home,
for sure.
out of being ripped out of a home, and he won't cooperate.
Yeah, I didn't
He
understand that.
Amanda, he's moved to Scotch Plains. He lives 10 minutes away.
Gotcha.
10 minutes.
Because he told me
That's all.
him and Don got into like a screaming match, and Don was yelling at him, and you know,
Yeah, because Daniel,
You,
if anybody
can't
interferes with Daniel's illusion, right? And Amanda, I hate to say it, the reason, he was advocating for you and that kind of thing is because you at least outwardly bought into his delusion of the selfless grandson who's dropping everything and blah blah blah. The minute Don started asking for receipts and Daniel realized Don wasn't gonna buy him a house to become my grandmother's landlord, all of a sudden he had to go and we were back in court again. And oh, I guess I can't use my grandma's lawyer anymore. And finally got his own lawyer. Like it was kind of obvious. So at the end of the day, what Daniel's talking about getting in a screaming match is Don checked his you know narcissistic belief that he was in control and the decision maker, and that's the reaction you get. And unfortunately, since he told me he's going to fight this in court, but I know for a fact he's not in contact with his attorney.
okay.
That's a lie. Since he's not responding to me, even with Daniel like counter offers of you should let me be guardian if you want her not at home. It's horrible to say. I think he's perfectly happy with Steve Purdy at home because he gets to wipe his hands with this. He's no longer getting inundated with calls and responsibilities, and he can convince himself that it's our fault.
It's our fault.
I see. I see. Well, yeah, I definitely don't want her in a home, so that will be my goal, is to keep her out of the home. It's just a matter of I'll try my best to convince her, but she tells me this is America and nobody can do that to her, and I'm like,
She's articulate, obviously walk her through the verified complaint
mhm,
and say, this is America. When
How
you
do you
don't have a guardian, you don't have your bank accounts with somebody else in control of them. When you're in America, you don't have, these restrictions, that kind of thing. This is the same thing.
right,
There's no magical line where this is different.
right, okay. So then, would you go ahead? You were going to
have
say
you
something.
spoken to Daniel, Amanda?
No, not lately.
Something about this?
No, he doesn't know that we're chatting or communicating. He saw the one email that I sent you guys, but I haven't talked to him since.
Which Amanda, I said we can talk about possibilities of bringing, getting Daniel to cooperate. A big thing to really accomplish that is to shatter, this illusion. To essentially say, Daniel, if you're not going to do something as simple as help like this, clearly your family was right. And
Right.
kind of be like, I don't believe you. And if we're in court, or if, your mother tries to get guardianship because of this, I'm going to be supporting it. I'm not going to be advocating for you. Like
Right.
I needs to, because everybody believe. I mean, you saw some of the text. It's nonstop. Everybody believes me. Your defamation lies. All your emails you send, everybody's laughing. It's my brother's not well, right?
Gotcha.
And the problem is he.
I mean, listen, if you have spare time, I know you're into, psychology and stuff. Look up NPD. There's not a box that Daniel doesn't check. If you look up the symptoms and you look up all the, if you read the text and the certifications, the stuff. I'm wonderful. I'm selfless. I've done this. I'm great.
Right.
And the attack.
I think he, not in the same fashion, but I think he has inherited mental illness from the family.
Mhm.
It does run in families. He's not well. Maybe, I mean, I don't even know. Maybe almost lie to him and say something like, if he, facilitates this, or, you'll think about, helping make him guardian. I don't know. how to
or just that my
anymore.
mother will be easier to remove than Vanarelli, and this is the first step, or something along those lines. I mean, every step of this has been Daniel's mind convincing himself he still has a chance or a way to benefit or do this to not give up. This is him essentially, oh, wait, there's no benefit. I'm not going to get anything out of this. I'm out. I'm done. Screw everybody.
And we knew this was going to happen. And we knew this was going to happen. I mean, I even said that, mark my words, that when this is all said and done, Daniel won't be around. When there's no benefit, Daniel won't be around. When there's no
potential benefit. So as long as there's
if he remotely thinks that there's a financial benefit, we might have a chance.
So what if I tell him that he has to be guardian with one of you? Do you think that would motivate him or demotivate him?
So here's God, I can't believe I am literally about to like compromise with my mother's abuser. But so well, first of all, Daniel cannot be financial guardian of anything.
Right.
Now the thing is that we could say that, in my mind, at this point, it would be best, right, if he was guardian of the person and myself or even Don were guardian of the property, right? That makes sense, right?
Right, that makes sense.
My mother, because he's the only one my mother will speak to. However, Amanda, remember all that screaming and all that certifications? All I want is guardian of the person because I just want to take care of my grandmother.
Right.
Call him out on it. It's BS.
Essentially frame it as, Daniel, if you don't agree to this, I don't believe you.
Right.
But everything you said is a lie. Now, the other thing is, maybe you can trick him. Maybe you could say, listen, let's just do this for now. You can be guardian of the person, and your mom or Don will be guardian of the property. And we'll see what we can do to work towards making you guardian. Anything to get him to think that there's a slight chance that there is some financial gain, because that is the only thing that he is interested in.
And also tell him what is it, 3% or whatever, he can fucking...
Oh, the commission.
Yeah, tell him there's money in it. Believe me, any financial...
He won't even look it up.
Yeah, he doesn't even know what a guardian does, but anyway.
Okay, so the commission might motivate him.
Also, tell him and explain to him that as financial guardian, there's complete oversight. It's not like anyone can take the money. So if he's using that excuse, we all know it's BS, right? Because you have to account for every penny, unless you're Don Vanarelli.
Right. Yeah. Have you guys seen any accountings from him?
No. So, and this is a question for you, Amanda. We were making and I know for a fact, the caretaker that Daniel arranged was being paid in cash for a while.
And she's taking it back to Daniel, but anyway.
But there's no paperwork. There's not a single piece of documentation. The first time Vanarelli's office was in touch with her was when she called weeks after she got fired asking, where's my pay? She got paid something like $20,000. There's taxes owed on that pay. I mean, right. And I called it out. Dawn seems completely unconcerned with the fact that there is no documentation on her employment. I understand from the reporting forms I've seen, you kind of just say the amount and what it was for, and then it's kind of on somebody else to be like, hey, call it out. So maybe, he's not worried about getting called out on it, but
he still has to do an accounting, like an actual
but again,
accounting.
60 days is come and gone.
Yeah, she just asked my mother for the EIN number like a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Before he makes any changes we do need a financial accounting.
Right.
Before he transfers guardianship.
He can't transfer any guardianship, at least until the proper paperwork is, then we can look at it.
I mean, Amanda, we brought it up time and time again. $300 a week, $1,200 a month, right? My mother buys the groceries on her card or whatever. Like you said, she's putting in her purse. Amanda, she's putting in her purse, and then Daniel has $20,000 in cash on his bed. We've been down that road, okay? And Dawn tells me, oh, well, it'll be detrimental to her health, if we stop this. I'm like, so you're telling me that as a ward as a guardian for an incapacitated person, if they said it would be detrimental to their health to flush $300 down the toilet, then that would be okay. You know, listen, I could see having access to money, but I know where this is going. I begged him. He promised me he was going to just get her. I forget what it's called. It's some kind of a card.
Okay. Like a debit card kind of thing?
Or some cash
It's
cards.
like a debit card, like GCM called it something. It's like a cash. I said, wonderful. As long as she's buying stuff with it, she could buy
Yeah.
herself a diamond ring for all I care, right?
As
long
it's
as
on
that
her.
money is not being flushed down the toilet of Daniel.
Right.
And then we asked, and
And then he used that money for Brock Eichler to fight us on something, right? Because that's where he got the money. That's where Daniel got money for Brock Eichler.
I mean,
But
I don't know. Did you think I forged his tax returns? Like,
No, he made a big deal out about that. I guess his attorney said it was some kind of privacy violation, and I was
no, I
like,
helped him
okay.
with. I was intimately familiar with his finances by helping.
Oh, Andrew, you're breaking
up. I was helping him with his financial aid. Like I have his.
Oh, he told me that you hacked his computer or his iCloud or something.
Andrew's smart, but he's not that smart.
If I could, I'm a tech person. If I was capable of hacking iCloud on command, we would not be worried about my grandmother's estate.
You'd be a lot richer, right? Yeah, no, he told me that you guys somehow hacked his phone and you were copying conversations that he had with ex-girlfriends or something like that. And I was like,
No.
what?
No, when I took the phone back,
Wait,
there was text. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, first of all, the reason Andrew took the phone back was because he was on Andrew's account and Andrew was paying the bills and Daniel wasn't giving him the money. First thing
I
first.
took the phone back.
Second, the conversation with the girlfriend happened on Facebook when we reached out, when Daniel was denying her incapacity, we reached out to like his ex-best friend, Mike, and his ex-girlfriend to see if he had mentioned to them the fact that grandma is loopy, right? To get some kind of proof because he was denying it completely.
Right.
And her response was, please leave me out of this. I'm scared of him. So,
Okay.
And in terms of
so that was the conversation with the girlfriend.
Yeah, and then in terms of any other conversations, there was text messages that came into the phone after I took it back regarding the sale of narcotics,
Drug dealing.
which I showed you all. But
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, he had some crazy story about iClouds and hacking and whatnot. I was like,
Yeah, and my mother took my.
I would have hired a team of 20 attorneys to keep my mother out of a home if Andrew was able to hack iCloud.
for real. For real.
And yeah, I mean, you've been talking to my grandmother. Does she have a little notebook with all her usernames and passwords?
No, I haven't seen her.
So when my mom had access to the account, it was some big evil ploy to control her finances. When Daniel takes over her finances, I would expect my grandma to have a computer and a notebook full of her username and passwords, right?
Right.
Because otherwise, that's, you know.
She tells me that you guys took her computer.
She can't set an alarm clock.
Amanda, she can barely use a cell phone. She can't use a computer. It was my dad's computer.
And so let me speak. I know the laptop is probably still in the basement.
Laptop is in the basement.
If you walk down her stairs and you look directly to the right, there's some shelves. The laptop is probably still there.
Gotcha.
I mean, that was before last time it was there.
Yeah, I mean,
it's in the house.
They're all just claims. I mean, and they contradict each other as well.
There was an old, tower. There was an old tower that I was hoping had pictures and stuff on it. But the whole thing is nuts.
Right? She doesn't know how to.
She doesn't know how to use a computer. She can barely. It took me forever to try and show her how to use a cell phone.
Okay.
Well, she doesn't
And
use
she would
it.
still get it wrong.
How
She
are
said
you
that
guys-
somebody's preventing her from using the cell phone to call me.
Go
I
ahead.
mean, that was
Go
back
ahead,
in the
Amanda.
day.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Amanda.
How are you guys feeling about her medication? That's one thing that does give me pause because I know, most people put it in day by day, but she does group it by pill. Are you
She's
okay
been doing
with
it for
that?
decades that way.
My thought on that, right, is she has done it that way for ages, right?
Okay.
She also, if you saw on the dining room table, keeps like an Excel spreadsheet by hand, if you will. where she writes down like and reports to Dr. Cheng like what her blood pressure was, in the
Right.
morning, whatever, what that she took her pills and everything like that. So she's pretty, now listen, things could have changed, but she was meticulous about her medication.
That's big. If you can
Um,
find that, and maybe that would be probably a good idea to include that in the reply to kind of counter that concern. Like, she's meticulous.
Listen, I mean, we can look up better pill organizers. She likes to have everything in the one day, right? Or I'm sorry, not in the one day. She likes every kind of pill. So one kind of pill goes on Saturday, another kind of pill goes on Sunday, and so on and so forth. So maybe we could find like, a week's worth. I mean, I'm sorry, a month's worth. Don't they have bigger pill organizers?
Yeah,
and,
I have one that's like 30 days.
Right.
And also, is her medication on, like, essentially, does she take all her pills every day? In which case, that's not a horrible way
Twice
to
a
do it.
day. Twice a
Or
day.
twice a day, whatever it may be, but it's not like some days she shouldn't be taking certain medications.
No.
Otherwise, that system's actually not that bad when you think about it.
Right,
If every
Yeah,
time you
that's
have to
one
take
thing they
every
keep
pill,
focusing
then
on.
yeah.
Well, they
And I
need
know
something to focus on, right? Because Amanda, you've seen my mother, you've been to the house, other than she's completely, paranoid, she stays in her house, she reads her books, she goes through her stuff, she listens to her music. It's a sad existence, but it's what makes her happy right now.
Right. No, she seems happy to have her music, and I know Lena works with her to translate some of the Spanish songs that she
Mhm.
listens to.
She
So
has
that's
a caretaker there twice a week. The GCMs are insisting that there's some hypothetical new care need that might exist or show up. Her incapacity, the entire petition, there's never been a claim and there's never been a report or anybody else saying anything to the sort of needing any kind of significant care or anything. She's a
right.
paranoid schizophrenic, and my mother's petition was predicated on this fact that she was being exploited by a family member, and that's it. And
Right.
the idea that there's been been no new event or something that happened that suddenly became a different situation. So
This urgency is that Dawn just wanted out.
Hey, Amanda,
Mhm.
is it true that by law she does have to see a GCM? So at some point it's going to have to happen anyway, right?
I don't know that I mean, you don't have to hire a caregiving manager. You don't have to hire one of those.
Right.
But
Well,
we did
Dawn owns part of that company, so
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's crazy. Okay, well, that would explain why he didn't want to fire them, because I had said maybe we should reconsider who we hired, and he didn't seem terribly about that. So that would explain why, I suppose. Because one of my questions for you guys was going to be, what about firing Connie Rosenberg?
yeah, I mean, how do you not try a different
Well,
GCM before you put in a home?
I don't have a problem with firing Connie Rosenberg because I believe that everything she's looking to go in there so she can make some more stuff up, right? Because she's been in there twice, and the termination was a grab bar, and I even told her, I said, Don and I had put these rubber things on the stairs, up and down the stairs, and I was afraid by now they would be wearing out, and I wanted her to check on that. I got nothing, right? The washing machine. My mother, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I went over there to help do laundry because she cannot remember how to. It is the old fashioned, you turn a knob, pull and turn a knob, like
Okay.
old school washing machine, but she still can't, it just doesn't click, right?
Okay.
So so I said, listen,
if-
can you have the caretaker? I told the GCM, please have the caretaker go down, maybe it's broken since then, but how can it break if she doesn't use it, right?
Right.
She used to always tell me that it's broken. And I used to be,
Okay.
no, Mom, look. And she said, well, when you do it, it's not broken.
Okay.
So
I think Daniel had said the same thing, because I think I asked Daniel if it was truly broken. He said it wasn't. So I don't think it is.
But then why can't this caretaker that's getting paid money for 8 hours a day to fall asleep on the couch or whatever the case may be, right?
Right.
Why can't she wash her towels and sheets? And I know Daniel used to take her, she always used to take or have me take her clothes to the cleaners, or Daniel, or when she drove, she took the stuff herself. But she likes certain things. I mean, She washes her bras and underwear in the sink. She's been doing that for the past 20 years. It's just a habit.
That's normal.
It's
right.
not. There's nothing. Have you ever seen her smell bad or anything like that?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, as I said in my email, I mean, like you're professionals. There's actual signs of hygiene issues.
Yeah. And I asked her
Wearing
on
the
the
same
phone today.
clothes,
Yeah, she
and
said she showers once a
yeah.
week. She wasn't, she said it wasn't every day, but she did say once a week. And then when I said tomorrow, is it okay if I come over? Yeah,
That's a
she was,
completely Russian thing. We shower once a week. She's always showered once a week.
okay, so that's the norm for her.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Okay.
I'm sure she would have an easier
It
time if there was a grab bar in there. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, it's just.
She does not use, contrary to what she may say or the GCM thing, she doesn't use the upstairs bathroom. She takes a
Okay.
shower in the walk-in, right? Because
Okay.
it's just
She tells me
for her.
she doesn't go upstairs at all.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of new. She didn't used to like to go upstairs. We used to go up and she used to show me stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like we used
she showed me some dresses and whatnot. She showed me.
Right, so we used to spend time up there. But for whatever reason, whatever her delusions or beliefs, like sometimes she'll say, they can listen, whatever, in the bedroom or something. And other times she says she just doesn't want to be there because, that's where she was with my dad. And other times it's another excuse or another excuse. But mainly I think it's because she wants to watch TV. She watches that God-forsaken channel, that Channel 1 News or whatever it is.
I think the one thing Daniel did for her is get her that goddamn channel.
Yeah, 24 hours a day, which is also very unhealthy. But she can stay there, sit there, watch TV, sleep there. And she wakes up, as listen, I'm old. I wake up 10 times during the night at this post-menopause, So she turns on the TV, watches that. We offered many times to maybe turn that into a bedroom since she likes to be down there. She always refused. She said, "This is how I like it."
Okay.
Amanda, this is how she likes it. We think that we know better, right? We
Right.
think that she would be more comfortable with a bed down there or whatever. But that's what we think, right? If this is what she wants, then let her have what she wants in the last few years that she's got.
And what's the deal with the home phone? Because this seems to be an issue every month that comes up.
Oh, so I can explain this one, and it's so ridiculous that Daniel is. So essentially, Daniel took control of the Rising. So first off, it all got shut off because right when this all happened last year, Daniel, and we've been honestly asking Banarelli to get us this city card statement because it is a smoking gun that would end all this.
Right. We could just threaten to he would do whatever we needed if we had the city card statement.
Yeah. Essentially, Daniel racked up something like $2,500 on her credit card. Then when we found out about the will and all this stuff, and he frantically rushed and got a hold of the account, paid it off himself somehow, and then didn't bother to put a different card down.
Well, he paid it off and closed the card. Thinking nobody would
That's why the waste management wasn't happening. That's why, but he did remember to
I have
ask
all
her
her
to
bills on
reimburse
auto pay on that credit card.
Okay, so once it got turned off, everything got turned off.
Yeah, but he did remember to get reimbursed for.
Well, Andrew, circle in on how this.
Oh yeah, so then after he took control of it, right? Banarelli was not taking. Thank God, it's the one thing he was at least a little diligent about is Daniel. You can't take a screenshot of your email that says it was owed. You need a receipt, like that's and proof of payment. It's your little screenshot of your Apple Pay going through is not.
Right.
Have somebody write you a check, and Daniel's refused to do it. So Daniel, I'm guessing, my hypothesis, he got sick of not getting reimbursed. So took his card off and said, I'm not paying this anymore unless I'm paying in advance. Kept doing the same thing. First off.
Amanda, so it was okay for him to have his grandmother's phone and utilities and things turned off just because he felt like it.
Yeah, because that happens, it seems like every month, and then she calls me freaking out that she doesn't have a phone. When it finally does come back on, she's all
because
upset.
Daniel finally gives Banarelli the proper receipt. Here's the thing. That account is not in Daniel's name. It is not in my mother's name. It is in my grandfather's name. There is zero reason for Daniel not to just completely hand over control of that account to Banarelli. He is doing
Right.
that like everything else because he wants to, it has
He
to go
just
through
wants to
him.
mess with him. He just wants him to have a hard
Or,
time.
or
I don't
he or
understand
he
why
wants
that's
to
not on auto
overcharge
pay.
or whatever. Same thing with the DoorDash. I truly believe that when push comes to shove, Daniel will not be able to show actual receipts for all the reimbursements he's asked for. My mother did her shopping for years. My grandmother does not eat that much food. I mean, we're talking about, I mean, twice as much maybe in 1 month. I mean, there's a reimbursement that he was asking for because he, in one of his rants, he listed them off that he was still owed 200 something dollars from BJ's, and then again the following week. That's no, like
My
that.
mother eats like a bird. She only likes certain things. I know exactly what she gets at BJ's, how much of it she gets. You know, because I did remember all through COVID and all that, like she didn't leave the house, right? So
Right.
I bought everything. You know, it's smoked salmon, it's this, it's in no way, shape, or form, you know, $200 at BJ's and $100 the same week at Trader Joe's. Geez, Don and I don't eat that much food. $300 a week, you know?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
like
yeah.
stack of receipts that she'll show me occasionally that she has on the dining room table.
Yeah, so
But
that keeps it kind of, has anybody, because they said all those receipts that exist in terms of the cash, like, has anybody
Looked at the
read
date,
it? What are the dates on it? I mean, it's,
what was purchased.
we told Dawn, it's not, and it got repeated, to Daniel, what Annarelli was saying, all they care about money. We even said, it's not nickel and diming. If you can account for $200 a week, or so, just about say, hey, she's not going anywhere without the caretaker. Can the caretaker just take note? Hey, we went here and she bought this, not the exact receipt, but just so we know that the money's getting spent on her. If
Right.
it's $200 a week accounted for and not 300, we wouldn't be screaming bloody murder about it.
right, right. Just to make
But,
sure it's
but that's
actually for food.
from Don's claim, that is a ridiculous ask. How can I account for that?
Really? You could just
Yeah.
get receipts.
Oh no, he was so angry. I said, Don, I said $300 a week is leaving my mom's account
That we know of.
that we know of,
Right.
unaccounted for.
Is that still happening? Because I don't
No,
have
it's
a
been about a month.
Yes.
No, Mom, it's been about a month since the last withdrawal happened.
So do you guys have access to that? Can you see when money is being taken
From
out?
the checking account, yes. So by the way, my mother is a co-owner. So like,
Because I'm an owner on that account.
Gotcha. Okay.
Andrew, you're breaking.
I'm sorry.
You're breaking up, but you're okay now.
Was I? Oh, just saying. Yeah, I mean, she's a co-owner. It got to the point. Banarelli's mechanism for limiting her, potential of emptying a bank account is every once in a while he'll transfer 5,000, go and pull out 5,000 or 10,000 or whatever, so there's not too much money in the account. Her Social Security and stuff is still going in there. Like,
Okay.
He said
Okay.
there's nothing he can do about that. I said, what do you mean that you're her guardian? It's like you're her, right?
Move the money.
Maybe it's just too much effort or too much work. Call up Entergy, right? And have her pension transferred to another account.
we can set up a monthly transfer to another account that gets triggered the day after we know that comes in, automatic.
Yeah.
You never have money. Like, there's a million.
I mean,
things
all
you
this
can do.
stuff is so easy to do.
Yeah, that's what I didn't understand with Don, because I know he was trying to do some stuff, but it just seemed like some of the stuff that would be so easy, like putting things on auto pay, were just never done.
Right,
Right.
right. So what is the plan in a way? So you have to come up with something to show,
The
Well, show the
Well,
court.
you got to talk to Daniel and see, and convince him to maybe do like it. I mean, bring it up. He told you all I want is to be guardian of the person, to take care of my grandmother. The whole selfless grandson act.
But do you guys trust him being sole guardian of the person?
Can you explain kind of the damage that can be done in that regards? Meaning,
I mean, he's making all of her medical decisions then. So any doctors that are going to call him. Anything that happens to her on a day-to-day.
I think he would act in her, best interest as long as it doesn't negatively affect him.
Yeah, like he wouldn't have to pay for anything.
Yeah.
Like
So we're not too. I mean, my brother's not gonna have her not get medical treatment as a spite. You know what I mean?
Okay.
He's not that bad. If there's a scenario in which, he could benefit from a decision, we'd be concerned. Uh, you know, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't seem like Don's making any decisions in that regards. I mean, he's never caught. I mean, I even said when we were brainstorming and they were asking for the contact information, I'm like, you've never been in contact with my grandmother's primary physician this whole time?
Right.
Like,
Right.
hey, let me get an idea of her,
What's going on?
yeah. And then even the
He
GCM
said he called her numerous times, and up until about a month ago,
twice.
we
The
had
last one was June.
June.
So up until recently, my grandmother's incoming calls, notifications were sent to my grandfather's email. My grandfather had originally set that up because my grandma, for whatever, delusion, would decide that somebody calling could not be trusted and would even delete voicemails. So
Okay.
something like, a bank or something calling, and him not finding out, he needed to know. Uh, since this started, it has been our one mechanism for knowing Daniel's calling
That
her and that she's okay and somebody's calling her and she's still talking, who she's still talking to is really our only, when Daniel says we didn't care about how she's doing and stuff, we were, even when.
I did drive by I'm a mile away.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I can tell you 80% of the time when I drove by, that so-called caretaker was not, there was no other car in the driveway, but okay. The first one that Daniel hired.
When Daniel says that, my mom, we abandoned my grandmother because my mom didn't take her on vacation, my mom was debating whether to go on that vacation. I told her she needed it and that, I'm here to keep an eye on things. I can see Daniel's calling her, like, it'll be fine for you to go away for a couple weeks. So
Right.
it
Right.
wasn't, we knew it was fine. My grandmother was driving at the time, right? Her
Okay.
incapacity, oh, Daniel said, oh, see, they knew I could take care of her because they said so. No, we said that for a few weeks, Daniel just took 60 grand. He can cover for mom because he's never done it before for her. When my mother went on vacation, it was me driving down from Connecticut and staying for the weekend because he couldn't ask
Gotcha.
Daniel to do more than one day. So where I was going with that is we can see,
And I
the two attempts that Ben really called.
Okay.
The
Okay.
last time was June.
So Don just hasn't really made any efforts.
No. I mean,
No.
it's, oh, she didn't pick up and this is how it is. And yeah.
But he called her twice since last January.
Yeah.
From what we could tell.
Well, what do you mean? We know the incoming calls.
Right. I mean,
Unless he's calling from some, and we also checked all the numbers, of who was calling, right? Because that was a concern.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, I know we want to be careful.
And then he cut us off when we told him he cut that.
No,
off,
that
so
was
we can't-
Daniel. Daniel finally noticed and did it. So unfortunately, we don't even know if Daniel's bothering to call her daily anymore or anything because he turned that notification off.
Well, I think he's on
Now, the other
vacation.
thing, Amanda, that you mentioned is having one of those like alarm things around.
Yeah, like a life alert or one of those.
Who?
What's
So I tried desperately. I even got them when my dad was still alive, and I got them an Amazon Echo, right? So
Okay.
she could just say, call Yana or something.
Yeah.
And my
yeah.
dad loved it because he can ask it to play him any music he wanted, whatever. And that lasted for about 2 months until she said it's a listening device and had to get rid of it.
Okay.
Let me, didn't
Tried
Daniel say in one of his certifications that he got her that?
No, if he did, he's full of shit.
Well, I know he's full of shit, but I mean, that was made up out of full cloth.
Yeah, I think he did say it in one of his
that
certificates.
would, if you could convince her that
the one with his emotion to intervene, he said he got it on. Yeah.
if you can get her one or
If
verify
you
it,
could get
that
her
would be
one,
great.
that would be great.
Would she wear it? Do you think, is she the type to take things off, or is she?
Yeah, she's not gonna wear it. I couldn't get her to charge her cell phone and take it out with her. I don't think.
You know what though? But think about it, Andrew. She's getting older. She has had the experience of falling and not being able to call anyone, right? So you can try. I mean, it doesn't hurt to try, right?
That's,
She
say
wear a
what
watch?
happened.
that's our frustration with Dawn. There's a million things we could try before we have to rip her out of her.
If you work it out with Dr. Chang and say, Mr. Chang, you should tell Nadia when she comes in that she should get a life alert.
Yeah.
Nadia will come to you requesting one. That, we just need people to think like that, to say, hey, look,
It's difficult.
it's
but
who's suggesting she get Life Alert. If it's Dr. Chang, she'll probably do it. But you have to call Dr. Chang and tell him
yeah, tell Dr. Chang to tell her he's worried about her heart and that she should wear it.
that she should wear it. Right. It's
Honestly,
like
the GCMs would be in there right now if they talked to us beforehand and we told them exactly what to explain to Cheng to do. The only thing that needs to happen is for my grandmother to believe that it's not worth fighting on the GCM visits, and
And that she can be put in a home.
That's all. She doesn't need to. She doesn't need to like it. She doesn't need to like the GCMs.
Even maybe like I said, go as far as like coming in there with the police, right? Something to have her have the realization that she's not, that she has to comply, because as it stands right now, she hasn't. She has had nothing has changed in her life since.
The GCMs show up and announce and ask politely if they can come in, and she says no. That's
politely, if they can come in, she says
not the sky falling.
Yeah.
Right. That's true.
She needs to understand that's not an option. So maybe the next time they visit, it should be with the police saying, we need to do this. We need to do this wellness check. And
we also said, right, my mother has a key to the house. I mean, look, at the end of the day, right, we want to be careful and not, cause an issue. She's a, mid-80s elderly tiny woman. Like, go, if you need to go in and check things, go in and check things. Like,
she's not going to fight you off.
Right, for
She
sure.
might cry and get upset and say you can't do this, but she's not going to hit you over the head with a hammer.
Right, for sure.
Like,
and maybe little things like that will show her that this is going to be done whether she likes it or not, and it's better than being,
in a home.
Unfortunately, what's worrying is I could see Daniel essentially, like, blaming, like putting that on. Her feelings on Dawn came from Daniel. So we definitely want to we definitely want to be careful with how kind of hard we push in that regard to keep.
Yeah.
Right. For now, it can't be you. Like, that's suggestions for Don or somebody. I don't know.
Gotcha.
But Daniel, you have to get through to Daniel, Amanda. Honestly, look, the last thing I ever thought that we would be talking about is Daniel being guardian of anything. Daniel is my mother's abuser, but Daniel is the only thing that makes her happy.
Right.
My biggest fear is he, at this point, has washed his hands of the whole thing. You need to play to his holier than thou grandson thing and say, hey, you told me that this is what you wanted, that you wanted to take care of your grandma. Here's your opportunity. Even tell him that, we'll see, this is the first step to maybe becoming full guardian, whatever you need to tell him. Because, Amanda, my dad worked all his life. My mom's got a beautiful home. It's the only thing that makes her happy. And if this doesn't work, she's going to be in a 4x6 room with a nightstand for the rest of her life.
Yeah, and she's got the money to have the care that she deserves. So
he does. My dad worked for it all his life. My dad came out of retirement with cancer to go back to work so that there would be a little more money and a little more money. My dad retired at 65 after 10 years of cancer. Stayed home for like a year, and then they offered him money that he couldn't refuse. At which point, at age 66, he traveled daily to White Plains, New York to go to work.
So
why?
That's
not for Daniel to go on to Italy, not and not for my mother to be stuck in a 4x6 room with a nightstand.
Right.
So she could live out the rest of her days there, whether it be, obviously eventually, that there'll need to be a visiting nurse, or there'll need to be a 24-hour nurse, or whatever the case may be.
Right. Is there anything that you think of that she would be doing that would be a legit warning sign that there's something wrong? Because I know she's usually well dressed and that she's always got her makeup on, so I know she's still good with that.
That woman puts on pantyhose and first thing in the morning. I'm like, Mom, you don't leave the house. I hate pantyhose, and I have
I've never,
business meetings and stuff. I have to wear them, but I hate them with a passion.
Yeah.
But yeah, she will wear the tightest control top pantyhose and put on her makeup and get dressed daily.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you want
Every
to
time I see her,
the
she's well
woman that
dressed.
doesn't take care of, that can't take care of herself.
Right. Right.
There'll
I'm just trying to think of
there'll
like
be
all the
flashing
evidence.
warning signs.
Can't make financial decisions.
Make
She
sure-
can
make
be
sure there's-
easily
make-
manipulated.
Make sure there's food in the refrigerator. That's
She
That's
does
what
have
we do
the
that
only
twice a week.
that has always bothered me and worried me, especially that she's getting older. But again, you know what? It is what it is. It's worked for her. My mother is extremely vain, right?
Yes. Yes.
you
She tells me so.
understand,
She
right?
doesn't like the caregivers that are ugly, and she tells me that we're sending her ugly people.
Right. She's. I mean, it's. I probably need therapy from being her child, but, but yes, when I was pregnant, don't look at ugly people. Your baby's going to be ugly. Everybody's stupid and everybody's ignorant and that kind of thing. But she does. She does take care of herself, and the minute she stops doing that, we know. But back to the vein thing. I'm sorry, I totally lost track. So my mother believes that one should fast 2 to 3 days out of the month
Okay.
to cleanse yourself. I personally think that's pretty unhealthy. She drinks water, and maybe like eats a little bit, but that's maybe she doesn't do that anymore, but that used to be a thing. And I was like, Mom, you're getting way too old to be doing this. Oh, well, you take a look at yourself. You should be doing more of that,
Damn.
Oh, no, I mean, Amanda, listen, why aren't you wearing control top? I could see all your fat jiggling.
Yeah.
But
again, listen, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. And I understand maybe that's part of the mental illness. Maybe it's not, whatever it is. So that would be the only concerning thing that she would do that would make me worry a little bit.
Okay.
well, she'll get dizzy, right? If she.
And again, but on the other hand, I used to fix that with like a couple of French crawlers from Dunkin' Donuts. And she'll get really mad if those come in, on a daily basis because she'll say you're trying to make her fat. But usually if they're there, she'll eat one or two.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Okay. So I'll definitely check the fridge and make sure there's food in it, and I'll look around the house and see if I can find that sheet.
Now,
with
listen, if there isn't food in that fridge, then that caretaker needs to be fired. Okay.
Well, that was the
That's-
other thing I wanted to talk to you about because she's 7 months pregnant. So at some point she's gonna need to go anyway.
Dear God.
yeah.
Okay, so the best way to handle that, if my mother likes her, right, and she's allowing her to come in, then whoever is next, she needs to bring in and say it's a good friend of hers and she'll take good care of her, some BS like that.
Okay, so she'll trust it if by introduction, kind of.
I'm grasping at straws here, but you always have to think 10 steps ahead. How will she think? What will she say? Will she think it's a conspiracy? Will she, so
That's like when she wanted the Spanish speaking aid because we were finding her folks that spoke Russian, and she was like, "I don't
and I
want."
thought that was wonderful.
Yeah.
But
it's
again,
like, yeah, you want
I saw
to
the
Spanish.
pictures and I knew that she would complain.
Yeah. I was just happy that one of the aides made her happy because at that point we were going through them. We had another woman that came and she told me she was too ugly. And I was like, I can't tell her that, Nadia. I can't say that to her.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But it didn't end up.
And
No filter. One time I had a big birthday. I think it was like my 50th. I had a big birthday party. That was embarrassing. And she came up to one of my friends, and we all dance. We dance salsa, right? So my whole crowd. So it's like 75 people here dancing salsa, like on the deck, in the house, whatever. And my mother comes up to one black guy, and she goes to him, I remember you from my daughter's last birthday. You danced so wonderfully with her. And, why are you sitting on the couch or something? And it was another guy, which he also knew. And he goes, no, that was such and such. He goes, oh, that must have been some other black man. I'm like, ah.
Oh no. Oh no.
But
So that was, yeah, I remember when
the frustrating thing
your
is
mother just said, like,
any of this is
No
just
filter.
if Daniel just told her to go along with it or do it or
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely talk to Daniel. I guess he comes back from his trip on Monday, so
Oh,
I
he's
can
on
talk
another
to him.
trip.
He's on another.
Yeah, yeah. He told me he'd be back Monday, so I can talk to him
Not
then.
bad for somebody, making 60, 70 grand a year for the first time.
It's been on more vacations than me, I can say that.
I mean,
Yeah, well,
But
I make I
that
make
happens.
significantly more than
But
the man, and I can't afford that many vacations.
yeah, yeah, I'm
yeah,
not
well,
sure
we
we
know how
do
that.
too.
We all know how that happens, right, folks?
Well,
Yeah.
Extracurricular activities.
So I will go there tomorrow. I'm meeting with her at 11, so it's later in the day. She said she needed time to get ready, so I can see if she's dressing and changing and showering and all of that, and I'll have an idea. But I think that's really the way that I appeal to the court is by saying, listen, every time I visited her, she's well dressed, she's neatly groomed, she's always got food, she's doing well, she's taking care of her blood pressure. I know that she checks it twice a day, and if it's over a certain level, she has to take another pill because she told me that.
Right.
And then hopefully from there we can, because I'm just afraid she's going to need someone to evaluate her anyway, and she tells me she doesn't want anyone new in her house, so that's going to be one of those things where we're going to have to force it on her.
Yeah, she's going to need to be evaluated maybe once a quarter or something. Just this weekly thing, right? I'm sure we could have probably worked around this if Dawn said, okay, not weekly, let's do once a month and then see,
Yeah,
from
that's
there.
more
Like
reasonable than every week.
there was no
Crazy.
middle ground.
I've talked to people. No one's ever heard of a GCM coming more than once a month. Quarterly is the norm, right?
Yeah, I think that's when they stopped talking to me because like I had a decent relationship with Elise before because I had worked with her on other cases. But then that one time that Rebecca came and I kind of said to her, I was like, why do we need to do this every week? We have caregivers here every week. What's the difference between Rebecca coming versus the
My mom
caregiver?
said the same
So
thing.
that's exactly what I said. I said, listen, the way my dad worked with the psychiatrist, right, is the middleman, right?
Right.
You this is what's happening, this is how she's acting, this is what she's doing, blah 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 blah. Why can't the caretaker report to the GCM? If the GCM has a list of things that the caretaker needs to keep track of, or a list of things that the caretaker needs to watch out for, or report on, why can't she just?
They're not qualified like that. It's bullshit.
Oh, she's not qualified. And I'm
Oh,
like,
is that
you
what
don't have
they
to
tell
be
you?
qualified. All you need to do is say, check her fridge, make sure she's taking her pills. Listen, the only reason that they need it to be in there every week is for this.
Money.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
that's what we're trying to say.
they said in his verified complaint that they maybe should be coming along to Netta's doctor's meetings or whatever. It's like
Well, wait, it's just to
that's
sit there
insane.
and watch, I guess.
So that they're, okay, if you need to set any changes to her condition, the doctor can call you and tell you. You don't need to.
Yeah.
Sit
Like, do
there.
you guys have a relationship with Lena or no?
We've never spoken. I've never spoken to her.
And I asked numerous, and I asked. The first thing when they were going through caretakers, I said, listen, why don't can we maybe set up a call or a meeting with the caretaker? First of all, I could at the very least tell her what things to avoid,
Right.
what not to say, just give her like the heads up.
Don't wave at the neighbors. Like,
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you know what? Not for nothing, but is that it's such a small act to give me a little, at least some peace,
yeah,
right?
like you should have a call with her, like a text conversation. I mean, I know Daniel has her text.
Hey, your mom's doing okay, took her to get groceries this week.
Don's only bringing us in was simply to
When
get,
he-
to have a thing, and then he needed a bunch of help from my mother with financial stuff. I mean, even the day before he filed this, or we received it, he had already filed it. The whole time he was in communication with my mom to get like the EIN number and stuff, and made no mention because he probably didn't.
And the administrator's cert that might, whatever, and this and that and the other thing. And the other thing is he said to the court that he's taking over her finances in January. I have it in a mail, in a letter to the court in January, Amanda. He's he's scrambling now. He was scrambling before vacation. Needed me. Oh, it's urgent. You got to do this now.
Same with the
And I'm
taxes.
like,
I
wait a
said,
minute.
hey, you got to get her taxes done. You need to get, you need to look into this caretaker because you're going to need to pay taxes on this pay.
Right.
Like there's tax implications to having
Well, the
my
employees
grandmother
have.
employing somebody.
I told him, Amanda, I told him, so my mother, through my dad's company, through Entergy, she gets reimbursed for her Medicare B premiums, right?
Okay.
So that's good money there, right?
Yeah.
You know what? If it's another day, if it's another 2 days or whatever it is that she could stay in the home, or hell, if anything's left for me when she's gone,
Yeah, yeah.
it's still money to the wind. I told him time and time again, please, it's one form that you need to file, and it hasn't been filed. I think I got to file it like the first year after my dad died, and you just fax it to the company. I gave him the fax number. I gave him everything. And then like the year after that, she had a fit about whatever she didn't want me to, and I left it. I said, you know what, I'll deal with. My whole thing was every time she threw a fit, it was very, I was always treading on thin ice until
Right.
I broke. So I had to kind of pick my battles as to what I could fix and what I couldn't fix.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to tell Don if anybody in the world should empathize with my mother's, it should be him. I mean,
He kept inviting us emails. This is so difficult. This is the most difficult, finances and case I've had. And
Like, yes.
I'm like,
Why
no
not?
shit, Sherlock.
That's what we've been telling you.
And you're lucky enough to have the legal authority to deal with all this, where I didn't. And every
Yeah.
time I needed to get her on the phone, and she would either get the stuff wrong with the question, the security questions, or she would decide the person on the other line was suspicious, or, I mean, it took me literally a year of nonstop, like I couldn't go to work. I couldn't get a job. It literally took me a year to move all my dad's accounts and put them in her name.
Gotcha. So has
And it was
Don done
still-
any of that?
So I think he has. So he had the same issue that I had. There was two accounts that I gave up on because they were in my dad's name. And then those are the ones that I had to get the EIN number for. And then I tried we needed to fill out paperwork, and she got all antsy, and I'm like, you know what? There's enough money for now. If if it's needed, I'm not going to deal with those two accounts.
Yeah.
One of which was a $100,000 CD that just rotates every December 12th or something like that. And
Okay.
if we ever need to cash it out, we can deal with that. And another one was an IRA that was in my dad's name, without a beneficiary. So those were the two.
But it comes down to, without having the legal authority, we're kind of limited in what we could do
So it was.
Right.
based on.
So I did everything I could. I mean, there was a lot of other accounts, and I did most of them. But at some point, I was
I'm just afraid you're gonna have to take it back at some point. And hopefully, he
right.
didn't.
But taking it back with authority, with being able to just pick up the phone and call the bank and have somebody speak to me and say,
Right.
no, we can't, we're not authorized to speak to you, and that's what I had to deal with.
Right. We just.
And then they put your mother on the phone. Okay, I'd put her on the phone, and she'd try to answer the questions, and I'd have the answers written down, and she would still somehow get it wrong. And then it would happen so many times that they would have us wait 5 days for whatever reason to call back again. I mean, it was a nightmare.
And then they would want to call us back on her phone at a rate.
Wow.
I love my dad more than anything in the world, but he just didn't want to believe that he was going to die. He didn't plan for anything. I was picking out coffins on Christmas Eve, Amanda, on Christmas Eve, because there was nothing. And then she insisted that, that he be buried in Westfield. And that was a $26,000 little arrangement because it was, the day before or whatever. But yeah, there was no arrangements made. So I told Annabelle, I said, listen, you're telling me how hard this is?
We know.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. You have legal authority and
it's-
experience in doing all
It's
this.
a little frustrating.
Oh, I had to.
It took.
I had to. It was so hard to change all her accounts or whatever. I said, wait a minute, Don. I said, you had to go down to Elizabeth, get an administrator certificate,
And you're getting paid to do it.
fill out a piece of paper and send it into the account. You're telling me how hard that was and how many endless hours? It's all bullshit.
Is Don taking commissions? Because I guess Don could be taking commissions. Do you know if he is?
Yeah. The final verdict, he's getting $350 an hour for all this shit.
Gotcha. Okay, so he is
Yeah.
taking his
I
commissions.
don't even know I don't even know how much he's billed for.
Yeah, that's what's weird because
I don't even know how much he's billed for. It's got to be some ungodly.
Yeah, I would like to see
Yeah,
it.
so I mean, as you can see, this is kind of why at least for myself, I get a little worked up about it because nobody would
Yeah.
put himself through. My mother put herself through, for some.
Yeah. I'm just kind of so disappointed in Don because like he's such a well-regarded attorney that like I know the judge isn't going to say anything bad about him. So that's why you're right. Daniel can't go in there like gangbusters saying, "Oh, he's a scumbag," because it's going to go terrible.
And especially after like.
Well, Daniel's not.
Year.
I mean, Daniel is not going to put another penny.
Which is concerning because that means if he's not responding to me saying, hey, let's do guardian of the person, at least with a counter or like something like that, and he's bullshitting that he's going to fight in court, it means that he completely has no
Hey,
yeah. Yeah.
Everything is breaking up.
Are you hearing me, Amanda?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so he seems to be completely content or even possibly wanting her to be put in a home because then he gets to completely wash his hands of it.
Gotcha. So he needs to stay involved. Okay.
He's going to say, yeah, and that's what I'm afraid of, man. And this way, if she's put into a home, he could just say, oh, look, it's all their fault, and that's it.
Right.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Right.
And then he won't help. If that's his, at this point, he has convinced him. Daniel's very good at convincing himself of things. He has probably convinced himself and told everybody that would listen that, you see, they did this. And now he doesn't have to deal. So the only way to get through to Daniel, play on his holier than thou grandson thing, show him his certification and what he said.
Essentially, his excuses.
Hold it to it. Say, Daniel, I believed you when you told me that you really care about your grandmother. Something.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Every excuse he gives, call it out on the spot. That doesn't make sense. That that doesn't hold up. Because if anybody looked a little harder, it was nonsensical, contradicting. First, it was there's nothing wrong with her and it's all made up, and then it was, oh, after the doctor said she was incapacitated, oh, actually, there's this evil ploy that my mother did. I'm not going to comment on the truth of it, but there was medication involved. And by the end of it, he was freaking claiming that the medication that my grandmother was being forced on that she didn't need, that Daniel felt bad about giving her, was withheld as punishment. I mean, so yeah, because if he's called out each time, you need to break his delusion. And if that doesn't work, right, consequence. Hey, if it goes to start with the benefit, but if it goes to the OPG, there's nobody, there is nobody to, argue against or prevent your mother having standing to blame you and go to, to sue you.
Yeah, maybe that'll get him.
That'll get, because he doesn't.
You know what? Wait, guys, I just had another thought. I just had another idea.
So.
As horrible as this is, if you convince my mother to convince Daniel that he has to be guardian of the person and me guardian of the property, otherwise I will go and get guardian of everything, and she will be terrified because of her delusions that somehow I'm going to be guardian of the person. I think she's more fearful of that.
Okay.
So maybe if we play it that way, that, hey, if Daniel doesn't step up, tell her I have every chance in the world to become, even though it's a bluff, I'm sure, but that I can become.
I don't know. Is it? I mean, we're not really down to fight that much with the money and stuff, but at this point, everything she said was true. Daniel's clearly not helping. It generally goes to a family member. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily be lying.
It's still what Grandma says, honey. There's nothing we can do about what Grandma says.
Dawn's bailing out because of what at this point, it's clear what Grandma wants cannot be a determining factor when it comes to her. She's not capable of making that decision, right? Dawn is out because she won't take him. She's not going to agree with anybody. Therefore, I don't think it would be too hard to argue that.
It's going to be whoever it is, right? It doesn't matter. So you know what, Amanda, it might as well be me, right? Because I'm the only one that's really going to look out.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Whoever it is, she's not going to like. She's not going to allow in. That's why at least Daniel, she'll let him in. So he can do his job as guardian of the person.
Yeah, just not.
And if he's guardian of the person, he will be.
He's the only one that has that capability. because she won't see anybody else. Eventually, whoever it is will also, let's just say there's a completely different guardian, right? They're also going to become that evil person, right? It's whoever it is. It'll be everybody but Daniel.
Yeah.
Because now, I told you about this, and my mother believes that Daniel is her son, right?
Right. She was artificially inseminated.
Inseminated, yes.
The guy who owns the Chrysler building.
Artificially inseminated, yes, with her egg.
Yeah.
Yeah, and over that past year, every one of her other delusions that were in the initial petition ended up being independently verified, either by doctor's reports or people's conversations. So it's just, we were wondering at what point, my mother would be believed.
People.
Right.
Yeah. At what point was somebody going to believe me?
Right. Okay. Well, I will do my best tomorrow, and hopefully I can make some ground. And I'll definitely look around and make sure she's doing okay, because that's really my main concern. And then report it back.
If you can find her little journal of medication, I think
Okay.
that would be huge, because it's essentially showing she meticulously tracks her medication.
Yeah, take a photo. It's usually a sheet of what do you call that paper with the squares?
Like
oh my
graph
God.
paper?
Graph paper, thank you. It's been a while. And I was an architecture major. A piece of graph paper.
Okay.
And it's almost always on the dining room table, along with any other paperwork that
It might be on the couch by the table to the right.
It might be on the couch, on the table to the right, and highly unlikely, but it also might be on the glass table.
You can also probably just ask her and say it would help in her.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you'd hide it.
Yeah, I don't think she'd hide it from you. Say that, they need this to verify that you're taking your medication properly.
Okay. Anything else you think I should look out for?
I mean, this is in regards to Daniel, as my stepfather said. If you find that laptop, that's another thing that you can kind of just be like, hey, another thing that you lied about. Like,
and that was in the room with all the pictures, right?
Down in the basement in my dad's old office.
And isn't it like bright green?
Regular office downstairs, but in the basement, when you walk down the basement stairs to the right, there are some shelves. It's a small blue laptop. I guarantee you it's still there. I had no use for it. It is useless. And like I said, the only thing I took, there was a big old tower, and I wanted to see what pictures were on it and stuff. So.
Okay.
And wasn't it like some bright neon color, like green or something?
It's like a bright blue, like you really can't miss it.
It's blue.
Like it's one of those kind of like back in the kind of iMac days or whatever.
Gotcha.
Cheap and just bright neon color, not like it shouldn't be hard to miss.
Okay. So then I think I still have your number, Yana, so I could text you after I meet with her.
Yeah, that would be great. Hey, Amanda, one more question. So do we not also, because they sent this to us as interested parties, do we have to respond as well?
If you want, you can reply if you want to.
Because otherwise we have no say in anything. Is that how it goes?
So here's the question. You're representing my grandmother.
Right.
Even if she wouldn't technically want us involved, she does want to not be put in a home.
Correct.
Therefore, if we want, if my mother gave a certification for you to use to the purpose, not about her and her being guardian of just, the people to care for, X, Y, and Z, technically, would there be any reason you?
No, she can submit it directly. She can submit a certification directly, just saying, my mom has always said she wants to be in her home and go through all that.
We were concerned about kind of responding the right way and messing it up.
Yeah, honestly, no, because it says that you can respond by motion, affidavit, or answer. I'm actually not doing that. I'm just sending in a letter because it didn't make sense to do either of those things, because what is the motion going to be for? It doesn't make sense. And we're not going to file an answer just that's going to say admit or deny. That doesn't help us.
Yeah, I didn't understand how to reply to that, whether it actually had to be like, a motion, right?
No, I would just you could do a certification if you want. Just, I certify that my mom has always said this. She wants to remain in her house. She has the funds, all of that. And you could submit that.
And you'd probably say it's not best to kind of not complain or tag, because we still need him to agree to anything we come up with. Though I don't know how Dawn could possibly pull off. Actually, I'm deciding that it's not. Sorry, go ahead, Mom.
Can I say something to the effect of, I don't believe that he's provided sufficient evidence based on A, B, and C that she should be placed in a home, that nothing has been tried, to
Yeah, you can say that. And I would also bring up all the stuff that you kind of need from him too, like that you haven't seen in accounting. I mean, I'm not saying attack him, obviously, but just say,
Right. But it's an honest concern, right?
So it's not going to be an attack of
It's
him.
an honest.
Look, clearly, he does not want to do this job, and
right.
we
He
understand
hasn't
that
wanted
doesn't.
to in a while.
Yeah, and that's fine. That doesn't mean my grandmother needs to go in a home.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, and even if well, attack a little too much or whatever, tell me if I'm wrong. I don't see a scenario where my mother, Daniel, myself, and Don come to an agreement that Don will override the entire family agreeing on the best care decisions for him.
No, I don't think Don ranks that highly ever.
Don just wants an out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Don just wants an out. So if you could say to him, look, we agree, then he would probably be like, oh, that's great, fine.
Yeah.
Right.
Because then he can't be held
Daniel, maybe
responsible.
my Don can be guardian, a financial guardian. If
Yeah, I think that makes sense, because why would Daniel have any objection to that, and why would Nadia have any objection to that?
Well, she would have objection because he's my husband, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
But, like, she doesn't have anything. I mean, I haven't heard her say anything.
Yeah.
Also, I would explain to both of them that no one can take her money. Every penny has to be accounted for.
Right.
There's none of this. If anything, you're held to a much higher standard. We've looked at the reporting and because originally when we filed, we studied like all the stuff that we would have to do. The guardian of the person, guardian of the property. And it's quite, it's
not easy.
And the reason we're so adamantly against Daniel is because he does not understand. To him, I mean, you saw, as I said, his complete disregard for any responsibility in terms of what he put in the certifications. He will not. Yes, will there be repercussions if he uses it like a slush fund? But then we're right back in court. It's not
right.
I don't want to be there. Like,
yeah.
The only thing is, Amanda, and you tell me. Again, listen. There's nothing that I hate more than the idea of Daniel being guardian of anything. But I think that's the only thing that'll make my mother give her some peace if Daniel is guardian of a person. However, Larry definitely told me never to do that because he said I'll be in and out of court forever. Where do you see the negative?
With Daniel being the sole guardian?
No, guardian of the person and mom. Because we brought that idea back when we were in mediation.
I don't see how. I mean, I guess with medical decisions, that's where you'd be in court. If you have different opinions about her medical decisions and Daniel wants to do one thing and you want to do something else.
That we would have different.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't imagine.
No, like.
I mean, listen, medical decisions are simple. Whatever is best, whatever makes her more comfortable. And really, I mean, look, medical decisions, now we have that choice. I don't know if I told you about an incident where my mom had the aorta rupture.
No.
Oh, so many years, maybe about 10 years before my dad died. My dad took her to Overlook. She had a lot of pain. There was a whole big to-do. He was almost taken out by security because he was begging them to do an MRI or a CAT scan. And they said, no, we're going to monitor her until the doctor comes in the morning. If he would have listened to them, my mother would have been dead.
Oh my God.
So her aorta, and the reason my dad knew about this is because he had the same condition and his doctor told him, we didn't know my mother had that condition, but we knew my dad had that condition and his doctor told him what to look out for. So he's telling them, do a scan right now. And he was literally fighting them. Anyway, long story short, nearly taken out by security. They finally agreed to do it. And the doctor comes out like white as a sheet or whatever, the orderly or whatever the MRI tech. And Overlook couldn't do the surgery. So they rushed her like crazy. She's bleeding out basically, right? They rushed her to Morristown. I was actually performing at the Meadowlands and we drove from Meadowlands to Overlook, flew like 100 miles an hour, done 78. While I was on my way to Overlook, they said they were taking her to Morristown. They had a team of 12 assembled to do open heart surgery. Wow. And my mother looked up and said, you're not touching me. I want to go to Hackensack. Okay. I want to go to Hackensack. I want Dr. Cheng, which is a different Dr. Cheng. That was my dad's cardiologist. Yes, he was head of thoracic surgery at Hackensack. He was very, very good, but she was bleeding. My dad cried. I cried. We begged her, Mom, please, they're telling her, ma'am, you're gonna die in the ambulance, And we couldn't do anything because I said, can't you declare her insane or something? And they said, no, there's nothing we can do. Because remember, there was nothing established. We had no paperwork. We had nothing established to let them know that she was nuts. So they were going to medevac her, but the ambulance guys were really nice. They said, listen, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. By the time they get the helicopter over here, we could probably go faster. And my dad said they were literally doing 100 miles an hour down 78, and they got her Hackensack. And Dr. Chang had another team of 12 assembled there. So anyway, let me tell you, if it comes to making that medical decision, I will make the medical decision that she gets operated on that second, right?
Right.
So I do have a concern I just thought about in terms of Daniel's guardian of the person. This is something we've kind of fought and been begging Don on. Is I know you keep bringing up reconciliation and stuff. That is obviously something they want, one battle at a time.
Right.
But we had pleaded with, look, you're not going to get her to talk to a psychiatrist. That's not what I mean. But she is not the first paranoid schizophrenic who's refusing to do something. Or, I mean, there's people who can consult and advise on best courses of action, how to go about that. That is needed. Right.
Yeah.
We begged for the
I have somebody who's refusing a GCM. How do we do this without making the matters worse? I mean, there's people, to consult. That should be part of these decision process and stuff. She doesn't need to be reevaluated. There's 4 doctors. She suffers from paranoid schizophrenia.
Right.
My only concern would be Daniel, deciding that's not needed or that kind of thing. But
Gotcha. But so I guess with oversight, I think it's better if it's joint, but you guys
No
would
way.
be, no.
in terms of guardian of the person, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
However,
Okay.
he never agreed to that. Meaning, he needs to feel
He needs to feel important.
Yeah.
He would.
Okay.
I mean, listen, if he agrees to that,
Look,
would say, I'll eat my.
work your way up. But
Okay.
I know. I mean, I'm concerned he's not going to agree to this.
Okay.
I'm concerned he's not even going to agree to this. But I just don't see how. It's just helping. He's still in the same boat.
Mom,
Right.
he told his paranoid schizophrenic grandmother an accusation about his family secretly medicating her as a last Hail Mary to deny her
I
incapacity.
can't believe he told her. I can't believe he told her. I can't.
That's just, there's no, be prepared every time we thought he could never, right?
Yeah.
Mom, you believed he would keep visiting her and talking to her after this. He's not driving 10 minutes to keep her out of a home. I mean, you gotta just accept it.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Okay, well, I will do my best tomorrow.
Maybe you can get through to him. Like I said, play on his holier than thou.
Carrot and stick. I mean, it really comes to that. If you're not,
and seriously, tell him. I think this will work. I really think that. Tell him it's a first step. We'll do this to keep her out of the home, and then we'll work towards making him full guardian.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not even a lie. It would be 100 times easier to remove my mother than it would be to remove Vanarelli.
Right.
That's not a lie.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, tell him.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, that will be my marching orders, and I will do my best tomorrow. And I'll text you, Yana, after I meet with her.
I just can't believe Vanarelli's such a snake. Do you know that Vanarelli was the first person I went to, Amanda, before I went to Larry?
Really?
And he made me feel so. It's just that he was. I kind of waited too long because I really didn't want to file. I didn't want to file. I didn't want to do it, and I waited too long. And then when I got back to him, he said he had taken on too many cases. But in the beginning, he made me feel like he was just going to be. I said my number one thing is, I don't want her, in a crazy house. I just want the financial abuse to stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
He assured me. And then when we agreed for him to be guardian, I sat next to him. He was on my left in mediation. And I said, I told him, I said, the one thing I need from you is you have to promise me to never put her in a home.
Right.
And he didn't say he would never do it, but he said,
Oh, absolutely.
This is, I mean, he's not, it's simply because it's a little too difficult for him. I mean, there's a million things we can try before this. Like,
Yeah, for sure. There's no
like,
way she needs to be in a place. That's what I kept saying to him. I was like, Don, stop threatening me with this because it's not what's appropriate for her. And you know that. And he was like, I know, but what are we going to do? And I was like, well, that's your job.
well, I mean,
Oh my God, you took the words right out of my mouth. He's like, well, you give me options, Yana. Give me options.
Yeah, he was looking for us.
And I said, wait a minute.
Well,
We just spent $200,000 for a group of professionals to handle this.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
only conclusion after Daniel 10 certifications and this, the only thing everybody knew for sure that it shouldn't be my mother and it should be a professional. That's the only conclusion that came out of that. So
Right.
it's a
And obviously, no professional can handle. It's the same thing. It's a different kind of incapacity. It's not whether you're a professional or you're not a professional. It's whether she allows you or she doesn't allow you. It's very simple. Either
Right.
you're part of the delusions and you're not. And eventually, everybody becomes part of the delusions, except for Dan,
Yeah.
because he's your son and he will never be part of her delusions.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
frustrating because it was always treated as I mean, nobody seemed to get it. Like, always treated like a vanilla guardianship incapacity. I mean, how many times did Larry talk about, like, mention dementia or something? And we're like, it's
I
not
kept
dementia.
saying, Larry, she doesn't have dementia.
Like, she will coherently tell you this is what she wants. Because I had asked when they did the 2 court-appointed doctors, I said, can we please request a psychiatrist? A doctor will not be
Right.
able, I mean,
Right.
it's hard enough for a psychiatrist
Right.
to diagnose this. If they're hiding their delusions,
Right.
it's
In
almost
one
impossible.
meeting, how are you going to do it?
Yeah, so luckily enough, we were able to give the doctors essentially, you know, guide to what to poke and prod and ask about.
What to ask.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to get these out, because Daniel luckily wasn't aware of all her delusions, right? So the simple ones
Gotcha.
about the neighbors and stuff.
I mean, some of the stuff came out that I didn't even know about. I forget. I think it was to
No,
the.
no, you're cracking up about that. She tell the GAL about the designer, the bag designer.
Oh, Madgley Bish or
Oh,
Badgley
that I
Mishka.
knew. That I knew. I knew about that delusion. Yeah.
Well, she tells me
Well,
that's
the one about me was hard to hear. I mean, and I don't know how.
Yeah,
this
Andrew, we
brainwashed
never
her-
heard that one, that Andrew was trying to poison her. That was
Well,
really.
but that was a new delusion. You know what that was? That
That was-
came after Daniel made his accusation. That's her mind at work. You know, Amanda, if you looked at the transcript of the last time my mother spoke to her mother, that Daniel included an assert and claimed that it was proof she had her own opinions. My grandmother says, I know you have a plan to make me officially crazy. Officially, the Russian word for that's not a, okay, that's like a government sanctioned word, right? Like that, you're going to get the government to do this. My grandmother
Okay.
wouldn't know such a thing existed. Don't get lawyers. This is before any of this happened.
I never even.
Daniel told my grandmother that we were going to claim she was crazy to get her money. So give me everything and I make sure it'll be fair. Because my grandmother said in that call, everything will be fair as long as you do things, you know, act as humanity. And what happened was the reason the estate lawyer, she wouldn't sign it is when you place that thing, you know, place that seed, the conspiracy gets out of control, and the estate attorney became part of the conspiracy before Daniel could get her to sign the will.
Right. Right. Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
when it comes to that, it's the medication accusation. That's
Right.
that's at play. All of a sudden, I was putting things in her purse. And I'll tell you, Amanda, we talk about reconciliation on the day after the first court appearance. So this is July, the day after your birthday. I get a call, and I think it was mentioned in a court document or something. I get a call from my grandmother at 5 a.m. in the morning, hysterical, psychotic break. So, bad people have Daniel, please help, bawling her eyes out. We're in court, so my first reaction, right? Obviously, Daniel's not kidnapped by people. I'm like, I'm gonna, hang up, say, I'll call you right back, I promise. Wanted to record it, right? Again, we have no evidence. Daniel's denying this in court.
Right.
By the time I call back, she's not picking up. We look at the phone log. She finally got through to Daniel. 18 months ago, some part of my grandmother's self-conscious was to call me for help when she was in trouble.
Right. Right.
Now we've had over 18 months of her isolated with only people who don't disagree with her delusions and Daniel and stuff. So,
Right.
when we talk about reconciling, that's something we'd want more than anything, but we have to be realistic. Her well-being and keeping her out of her home is the priority right now. Like,
Yeah. Okay. Those are my marching orders. So that's what I'll do my best tomorrow. I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, text me and let me know how it goes. Yeah. What time are you going over there?
11, she said.
Okay.
Yeah, that was her preference. So she needed time to get ready, she said. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
All right. If you guys think of anything else, let me know. Otherwise, I'll report to you as soon as I talk to her.
Will do.
God, I hope this works.
Okay. I know, you and me both, because she definitely does not need to be in a facility at all. She's like so high functioning.
I mean,
She-
it took a year of litigation because of how difficult it was to realize that what was going on, and
Right.
within a couple months of him getting officially guarded, all of a sudden it's actually, you know what, she is incapacitated, actually more incapacitated than even the doctor said. Like,
Right. Right. Yeah. No, she's a pretty smart woman. She keeps me laughing sometimes with all of her comments.
Mm.
All right, but I'll let you guys go. Enjoy the rest of your night. And if you think of anything, definitely email me or whatever.
Will do.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.